Hi yogis, welcome to Move with Anna. Thanks for joining me today. This class is going to be a flow for the total beginner or somebody who's done a few yoga classes but is maybe wanting to break down some of these basic postures. And you know, if you've been to a class and you hear a lot of like Sanskrit words, like the yoga words, and that's one kind of piece of feedback I hear from a lot of students, like, oh, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing, and I need somebody to kind of break it down. So that's what we're going to do today. Let's go ahead and get started. Find a comfortable place to put your mat, and go ahead and come down into child's pose. So for child's pose, you want to bring your knees about mat width distance or nice and wide. Your feet come to touch behind you, and then you sink down and come down onto the mat. And I like to really rest my forehead down on the mat, stretch the arms out nice and long. This is a really great beginning posture. It's a nice way to start class. I start a lot of my classes here in child's pose, and then we start to tune into the breath. So the most important thing in any yoga class is just that you're focusing on that breath. So starting to be more mindful of your inhalations and exhalations. You want to start taking them in and out the nose. Maybe making them just a little bit longer than usual. Good. Keep breathing here in your child's pose. Knowing that child's pose is a terrific spot to return to at any point in class, should you need a break, just to recapture your breath, this is where you go. I come down into child's pose all the time in class. So take a few more breaths here in your child's pose. Maybe starting to stoke up a little more. You'll hear in yoga a lot, it's referred to as ujjayi breath. So ujjayi breath is that yogic breath where you're breathing in and out the nose and you have a slight constriction in the back of your throat. So it has like an oceanic quality sound to it. It sounds kind of like that. So if you're comfortable with that, start to stoke up just a little bit of ujjayi breath in and out the nose. Good, my friends. Start to come forward from your child's pose into a tabletop position. So tabletop is just hands and knees here. We always stack joints in yoga for safety. So shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, and that's how we'll start. We're going to take something called cat-cow pose, and that's kind of this undulating movement in your spine that you do with your breath. So for the inhale, we take a cow, and you see how my back curves, my belly drops, my shoulders spread. And for the exhale, we take a cat. Tucking chin to chest, rounding through the spine. Inhale, cow. Exhale, cat. So that's a cat-cow. Pretty easy. Take two more with your breath. Lovely way to warm up in class. From your cat-cow, I want you to go into your downward facing dog. So downward facing dog is like your inverted V shape. And your heels, if you are tight back here, before you're really open, you may not be making contact with your heels on the mat. That's totally fine. You can be on the ball mounds of your feet. You can be halfway down. Whatever it is, that's fine. I want you to spread all 10 of your fingertips, really melt the palms into the mat and press away, starting to seal that navel in. Good, and ground down through the feet. So you can kind of melt your heels down towards the mat. And again, like any yoga pose, don't be attached to it having to look a certain way right away. This is a practice. So that's why it's called a yoga practice. We are practicing to get somewhere. And the most important thing here is that we're breathing today. Another full round of breath here in your downward facing dog, in through the nose, out through the nose. On your next inhale, gaze forward, front of your mat, and then take tiny little baby steps all the way up towards your feet. I want the feet hip width distance or wider. And take a generous bend into your knees, and we'll come into a ragdoll pose. So for ragdoll, you can grab for opposite elbows if you like. Whatever you are doing with your hands, you can let them drop. I want you to let the head and neck dangle down, no matter what you're doing with your arms. So it's a release into that head and neck. Maybe open and close the jaw a few times. Good, maybe shake your head yes and no. Beautiful, my friends. Plant the hands and then go ahead and toe heel the feet together to touch. On your inhale, I want you to roll all the way to standing. The head and neck will lift last. Take your time, come up as slow as possible. And when you reach the top, you're in a standing posture. From here, we're gonna work into a sun salutation. And that is linking like a breath to a movement, which I'm going to explain. It's like how most Vinyasa classes kind of start the flow. And this is how we start to build heat, warm up. So without further ado, spread the feet nice and wide. Feel really rooted down through your feet. Feel the legs start to engage. Seal navel to spine. Inhale, bring the arms above your head here. Relax the shoulders from your ears. Chin lifts, big breath in. Exhale, hands to heart. Again, inhale, arms come high all the way up. Exhale, forward fold, release down. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, plant the hands, step back to a high plank. Good. So you'll hear also in a Vinyasa flow class, you'll hear teachers cue a Chaturanga Dandasana, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. And some teachers will just say, you know, take a vinyasa. And that's kind of what that means. So I'm gonna break this down for you guys. This is a very fundamental part of the yoga practice that's really important that we have good alignment. So from your plank pose, you're rooted down, your hands are firm, you're in a plank, and you're gonna hinge forward about 2 inches on your toes. Lower halfway down. Elbows are pinned into the sides. On the inhale, your upward facing dog looks like this. Notice I'm on the tops of my feet now and my thighs are not resting onto the mat. There's no contact except for my palms and the tops of my feet here. The exhale brings you to downward facing dog. Big breath in, big breath out. So we'll try it again. Come to plank. Take an inhale. Exhale, lower halfway down. You've hinged forward by now. Good, and then you're inhaling for upward facing dog, exhaling for downward facing dog. Great modifications for this as you're building strength. So if you're having trouble getting halfway down with the elbows pinned into your sides, drop to your knees here as you're lowering halfway down. And then take your upward facing dog and downward facing dog. So throughout this class or any class, if you start to kind of get tired, lose a little momentum there, you can also come into a high plank, hold, and go straight to downward facing dog. This is just a great way to build strength. All right, let's do this together. Inhale, gaze forward, top of your mat. Exhale, step towards the top. Inhale, lift halfway, flat back, reset the spine. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, mountain pose, come all the way up. Arms reach to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Again, inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold, release down. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. So you're going from your high to mid plank, top of a push-up to middle push-up. You've hinged forward, lowering down. Upward facing dog on the inhale, downward facing dog on the exhale. Let's do that one more time together, building heat, warming up. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, top of your mat. Inhale, lift halfway, reset. Exhale, fold. Inhale, mountain pose, rise up. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, forward fold, let it go. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, plant the hands, take your Chaturanga Dandasana or variation of that. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good, full breath in. Full breath out. Good, release the head and neck, shake it out. Beautiful job, friends. Inhale, gaze forward, top of your mat. Exhale, step to the top. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. So it's literally like you're sitting in a chair, but there's no chair there. So you're using your strength, your body weight as resistance here to keep you here. You want to keep these thighs engaged, sealing navel to spine, and arms are up, they're active. Peek down. If you cannot see your toes, shift your hips back, get your knees out of your line of vision, and then you can see your toes. You want to kind of distribute the weight more into your heels, so maybe you can even pick up all 10 toes and then place them back down, sink a little lower. Seal navel to spine, continue with that yogic breath, in and out the nose. You're in your chair pose or Utkatasana. Full breath in, full breath out. Stay with me for one more inhale. Exhale, forward fold, release. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. Plant the hands, hinge, lower halfway down. Inhale for upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. So good, yogis. You guys got this. Full breath in through the nose, out through the nose. On your inhale, I want you to sweep your right leg to the sky. On the exhale, step foot through between your hands. The inhale will bring you up to warrior two. Good, so for warrior two here, you've got heel to arch alignment. So you see how the feet are kind of lined up. You want that back foot sealed down into the mat and the front knee over the front ankle. You want the knee tracking in line with about the second toe. Arms are out, they're super engaged. Navel is sealed to spine. Gentle gaze over your fingertips here. Good, take a full breath in. Full breath out. On the inhale, reverse warrior. So bring it back. You'll have this length here in the side body. Don't let the lunge go. Keep the knee over the ankle. Take a full breath in for me. Exhale, wash it out. Take your Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful, my friends. We're gonna get our left side. We always do the right and left side. You've got to even out. So inhale, sweep the left leg to the sky. Exhale, step foot through. Inhale, warrior two, rise up. Check your alignment. Seal the knife edge of the back foot down. Get your front knee over your front ankle. Gaze over the fingertips. Core stays engaged, always here. And arms are active. Full breath in, please. And full breath out. Beautiful job, you guys, you got it. Next inhale brings you to your reverse warrior. Again, don't let the lunge go. It's easy to come up when you reverse, so keep that knee over the ankle and then feel that stretch along the side body here. And you can have this hand also down the back of the leg. It doesn't have to be behind your back, it doesn't matter. Inhale, exhale. Windmill down, plant the hands, zip that left leg back to meet the right, and take your Chaturanga. Upward facing dog, inhale, and exhale, downward facing dog. Full breath in, full breath out. So now that we've taken a moment to break down those postures and hold them for a few breaths, what I want to do is link one breath to one movement. That's what we do in a Vinyasa flow class once we start to flow. So follow along with me. Inhale, gaze forward. Exhale, step to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Sink low. Good, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana, or whatever variation is serving you now. Back to your downward facing dog. Full breath in, full breath out. Inhale, lift the right leg high. Exhale, step the foot through. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, extended side angle. You're reaching forward and down. You're hinging slightly. Inhale, reverse warrior. Exhale, wash it out. Take a vinyasa. Good, my friends. So strong. Full breath in, full breath out. We're gonna take our left side, linking breath to movement. The leg comes to the sky on the inhale. Exhale, step foot through. Inhale, warrior two. Exhale, extended side angle. So you see how I hinge forward and down, top arm up. Inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale, wash it out. Good. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Full breath in here and full breath out. So come down to your knees. Take a moment here. If you'd like a sip of water or a towel off or anything, great time. I want to break down a couple other fundamental postures here. So now that you kind of understand how the flow feels like when we're linking a breath to a movement, you've got your Chaturanga, which is really important to have broken down. There's just a couple more poses. I mean, there are endless yoga poses we could do, but I want to break down just a couple more so you can start to understand a lot of these poses that you'll see in most classes. So, as you're ready, make your way back to a downward facing dog. Palms spread, fingers spread. Take a full breath through your nose, out through your nose. On the inhale, lift the right leg to the sky. On the exhale, step the foot through. On the inhale, we're gonna rise up for a warrior one. So there's kind of three warriors. We did our warrior two already, which you saw before. This is our warrior one. So for warrior one, you've still got that front knee over the ankle, that alignment. But notice how the back foot is really sealed down onto the mat. So those left toes are pointing towards the top left-hand corner of the mat. The hips are squared off towards the front of your space. So closed hip posture. Navel seals in, scoop the pelvis, seal, and breathe. Arms lift up. So nice, friends. Keep it up. Breathe here in through the nose, out through the nose. Stay with me in your warrior one. One more inhale. Exhale, open up. Take a warrior two. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, wash it out. Good. Inhale for upward facing dog. Exhale for downward facing dog. Beautiful job. Let's break down our warrior one on the left side. So as you inhale, sweep the leg to the sky. Exhale, step the foot through. Inhale, warrior one. So, front knee over front ankle, hips squared off towards the front of your space. That back foot is sealed down. Right toes point towards right, top hand corner of the mat. And you're breathing in and out the nose. Arms are lifted, everything's engaged here. Good, these warriors are such strong postures, so they can feel, long holds in these get hard, but it really is building your strength. Good, remember to keep your navel sealed into the spine. Take a breath in. Exhale, warrior two. Notice how I change my stance. Every body's a little bit different. I take a longer warrior two stance than I do warrior one. And the reason for that is that it's hard for me to have my hips squared off towards the front with my legs really wide. So my warrior two stance is just a step or two farther out. Yours may or may not be. Everybody's a little different. Full breath in and out. Take a reverse warrior before you wash it out with your vinyasa. Good. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Good, yogis. Full breath in and full breath out. There's one more standing posture that I really want to break down. Well, there's two that I'll show you. So I want to start with something called a crescent lunge, because you'll hear that a lot in class. So again, downward facing dog. Inhale to sweep the right leg high. Exhale, step the foot through, low lunge. Inhale, crescent lunge. High lunge, Anjayanasana, so many names for it. Front knee over ankle, hips squared towards the front. Notice this time my back heel is lifted. I'm on the ball mound of my back foot. It's almost like a Barbie foot in the back. Navel sealed to spine. Scoop the pelvis in slightly and breathe. In through the nose, out through the nose. From here, I would like to launch, so bring your palms down to your heart just for a moment while I explain. From here, we're gonna launch into Warrior 3. I feel like I should show you all 3 warriors in this class so you know what they are. So Warrior 3 is a standing balancing posture. So for Warrior 3, you're gonna launch off of your front foot and you want your arms out like biceps by the ears. That back leg is lifted, super engaged. Dial the left hip down in line with the right. And again, sweep those arms forward and breathe. See, it's hard to balance, but if you pick a drishti, which is an unmoving point to focus your gaze on, that helps. Good, yogis. Full breath in, full breath out. Bring that standing leg, or that lifted leg to meet the standing leg, and release down. Get yourself into a forward fold, shake it out. Good, maybe pedal it out here a little bit. Good, and I want you to reset. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, take that optional vinyasa here if you're wanting your chaturanga, upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Good, I want you to take a full breath in and a full breath out. We're gonna do our left side, friends. Inhale, leg comes high. Exhale, step foot through. Inhale, crescent lunge, arms come high. So again, breaking it down, hips are squared towards the front knee over ankle, back heel lifted. So this leg may be straight, it may be bent if you need it to scoop your pelvis and get that navel sealed into the spine. It may be straight, but don't load too much into that lower back. It can be bent, that's fine. And breathe, again, in through the nose, out through the nose. Here I go, losing my balance. So take another full breath with me. In your crescent lunge. From here, we're going to launch into our Warrior 3. So balancing standing posture. See that your right hip is dialed down. That leg is active. The standing leg is rooted. The arms are stretched out in front of you, biceps by ears, so strong. Use your Ujjayi breath to keep you here. Find that drishti, an unmoving point to focus on to help you balance. And your release, again, is forward fold. Bring the top leg down to meet the standing leg. Shake it out. Good, yogis. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant the hands. Come to the top of a push-up and take your optional Chaturanga Dandasana, upward facing dog to downward facing dog. And take a breath. Good, come on down to your mat. So there are so many more awesome postures we could do in yoga. Those are kind of the main standing balancing ones that you'll see in most classes, not in every class. You know, and there's a whole bunch more. You can check out some of my other videos for that. But for today, that's gonna be the end of kind of our standing postures. There are some things down on the mat that I'm gonna show you before we close out. My absolute favorite hip opening stretch, half pigeon. This is an amazing posture. So to get into, the easiest way to get into half pigeon is from downward facing dog. I like to sweep the right leg high and bring it forward. So breaking it down, your shin may be parallel towards the front of the mat and it may be more back like this, like your heel and ankle back towards that left hip, that's fine. If your hip's already pretty open and you can get it parallel, that's great. So to get into your half pigeon, and by the way, if you have any knee pain here, like shooting pains, probably not the best posture for you. You can take like a figure 4 on your back, and I can show you that in just a minute. However, if you are following along with this half pigeon, maybe take a peek over your right shoulder to square your hips. Pressing up gently, and if you're ready and you like, to come down for this sleeping pigeon, you'll start to rest yourself onto the mat and just relax and let your hip really open here. This is a great stretch just as a complement to everything else we do, whether you're an athlete of another kind, if you run or bike, or even if you sit long hours. It's really important to do hip opening. And I do have some classes that are all hip openers too, so check those out for sure. And take another full breath in, full breath out. Good, start to come up. I do want to show you real quick, if you need the modification, if you have a knee issue, this is the supine figure 4 option, where you're on your back, the ankle comes over the thigh here, this knee is out, and then you pull back on that thigh. So that's great for people if you've had like knee surgery or anything like that, or you just have kind of a knee issue on one side. Know that that's a great option for you. From your half pigeon, bring yourself back to down dog. Lift the right leg, bend the knee, open the hip, let some fresh oxygenated blood flow back through that area. And then we're gonna get our left side. Inhale, leg sweeps to the sky. Exhale, half pigeon. So again, don't be attached to that being parallel. It doesn't really matter. That's eventually what we may get to. And breathe here. Maybe peek over your left shoulder. See that your back leg is straight, strong. The ankle is in line with the calf there. Again, you can either stay upright here, or if you prefer to lower down just to here, or all the way, whatever is comfortable for you, that you can feel kind of the most effective sensation here. It's going to be different in everybody. Good, breathing in and out. Just melt into this. Knowing that sometimes one side is tighter than the other, very normal. Most of us have one hip that's a bit tighter, and all kinds of, asymmetries in our body. So that is normal. Don't be, too attached to that. Come back to your downward facing dog. Inhale, sweep the left leg back up, bend the knee, open the hip. Good, let some blood flow back through. And then back to down dog. Come down onto your knees, onto your mat. So before we close class out, I want to take just a couple of stretches that are so nice on the mat. And again, there's so many more things I'd love to teach you in this beginning flow, but I wanted to take time to do kind of an express beginner flow so you can just get the idea and know that I'm gonna offer kind of a longer beginner class too at some point. So I want you to start with a seated separate leg stretch. Extend that right leg long, bend the toes up towards your face, sole of the left foot to meet the inner thigh, reach the arms up with an inhale, and then exhale, fold over towards that straightened leg. You can take a nice bend in your knees here if you like. That'll give you a bit of a lower spine release. If you want more of a hamstring opening, you can work towards straightening that leg. Inhaling for spine length and exhaling, sending the heart towards the toes. Another full breath. Good, friends, time to switch out legs. So extend the opposite leg long. Bring the sole of that right foot to the inner left thigh. Flex the toes. Big breath in and exhale. Come on down. Again, there's no harm in bending the knee if that's what feels better to you. So know that that's fine. If you do want that hamstring opening and you want to straighten that leg, that's also good. I really like to use my breath in these postures to get deeper. So I use the inhale to lengthen and the exhale to fold deeper. One more breath. Good, gently coming up. Beautiful. We'll take a seated forward fold. So to get into seated forward fold, remove the kind of flesh from underneath the sits bones, really feel rooted down here. Again, straight legs, bend the knees, or not bend the knees, you can bend the knees actually. Send the toes towards the heart, inhale and exhale, fold. So this is a nice one to keep the knees bent if, you know, again, just protect yourself from any kind of shooting pains. That'll help release the lower spine. And again, for hamstring stretch, go ahead and get the legs straight and breathe wherever you're at. Maybe coming a little deeper on that exhale. One more breath. Good, yogis. Gentle. Come up. And now it's time to go ahead and lower down onto your back. So I want you to lower all the way down onto your mat. And from here, we're going to take a happy baby pose. So for happy baby, bring your feet up in the air and then bend the knees, grab for the outsides of your feet, and pull the knees in down towards the armpits here. You want to keep most of your spine on the ground, and you can rock back and forth here. You can stay still. If you like to straighten one leg and then the other, just let this feel nice. Another full breath. And release the feet. Relax the left leg down to the mat. Pull the right knee in towards the chest. And supine twist. So let the right knee drop over to the left side and draw your gaze right or up, whatever's comfortable on the neck. So there's no need to yank this knee over. Let it fall kind of naturally how it will. You can help guide it with your hand. And then gaze to the right. Feel that nice side body stretch. Coming back to center, relax the right leg down to the earth and pull the right knee in, tight towards the armpit. Good, and then supine twist. Draw the knee over, the left knee over to the right, and then gaze towards your left or up. Good, feeling that nice side body stretch all along that left line here. One more breath. Good, yogis. Gentle. Come back to the center. Pull both knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a big, huge squeeze. Tightest hug you've had all day. Big breath in. And exhale, Savasana. So Savasana is our final resting posture. And it's also called corpse pose. And you spread your legs out like mat width distance at least. Palms face up and close the eyes. Breathe here in your Savasana. I highly recommend even pausing this video and giving yourself a 2 to 5 minute Savasana just to recenter. It's such a good exercise at the end for your mind, just to absorb that practice, that hard work you just did. Good. And if you're not taking a nice long Savasana, start to roll over into the fetal position. You'll gently push yourself up and come into a comfortable seat. So friends, thank you so much for joining me for this beginner flow. Know that if the yoga practice is something you're working on building up to, a great complement to this is one of the core videos, or even like a longer restorative stretching with this. But those are just a few of the basics I wanted to share with you. And now we're gonna close the class out. You're gonna bring your hands to heart center. And we always close class out saying namaste, which is I bow to you. So I bow to you, I'm so grateful. It's always an honor to lead you through a yoga journey. And thank you for joining Move with Anna. Namaste.